All right, I want to talk to Dishal. Dishal Sooku is a restaurant owner, and he is our guest this morning. You might not know the name, but I'll tell you who he is in case you are a little bit confused. So he is the guy who thwarted the attempted kidnapping at an eatery in Johannesburg last week. We've all seen the video. He was wearing a black shirt and he like flew over the table. And I thought we need to speak to this dude. So Dishal, first of all, I know you're not looking for attention because they asked you to be on TV and you said, look, you'd rather not. And I get that because people are going to be interested in you this week and then suddenly next week they're not going to care anymore, and you can see that. I also love the fact that there are people in our society who can fend for the younger and weaker members of South African society who are constantly victimized by criminals. First of all, congratulations, dude. It's nice to see you, and well done on what you did there. I don't want to make too much of a thing about it because otherwise you're going to get embarrassed. But really, what a hero you are.
Morning, guys, and thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, just thanks again.
So listen, what happened? I mean, from your point of view, tell me in your own
So,
words.
so basically, we're sitting at my restaurant. My dad was there as well,
Hmm.
and yeah, basically he said, "Look, just there's a guy suspicious there. Just have a look." I had a look. I saw him entering or running into the shopping center.
Hmm.
And when I saw him running towards our restaurant, is when I obviously was very alerted. And when he got to the railing and jumped over, I immediately got up because, firstly, I thought he wanted to steal a cell phone or a bag or something.
Right.
But in no way did we ever think he's going after this little girl. And when I saw him like run towards that little girl, I had to do something. And the first thing running through my mind was protect this little girl.
Jeez. Yeah, well, you leapt to the child's defense. First of all, I saw that the mom, it must have been the mom, because you guys would have spoken afterwards. She was the one who like grabbed her kid, but you came over and you took this guy down. Have you got any martial arts training?
Yeah, so look, I have years of Jiu-Jitsu training. Um,
Awesome.
I also have my own school. So yeah, I think it was years of preparation for something like this. It's the first time that I've ever been in something like this as well.
I
Amazing.
could immediately see that it was definitely jujitsu, and I mean, I can't stress how much I believe in jujitsu as something that women, children, everybody should just learn the basics of. And and a lot of people have excuses. I train boxing because I can't train jujitsu. My lower back just can't deal with it. But it's just such a practical, useful. I mean, you could see what belt do you have, if I may ask?
So I'm a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and
Oh, there you go.
I get exactly what you're saying. Is that you know I could have gone in there, elbowed the guy, broken his face, broken his nose or something, but then the assault would have been against me after that.
Yeah.
So I mean, Jiu-Jitsu teaches you about controlling the situation by controlling the offender. So that was the only thing going through my mind, is that if I can control him, it's easier for whoever was around, which was my dad and the mom, to take her away, which would
Right.
work out in a much favorable way.
So you
Brilliant.
say you say you spotted this guy, or your dad spotted the guy before anything even happened. And are you guys always on the lookout for this? Because when most of us go to a restaurant like yours and we sit down, we the last thing we think about is that we're about to be in a confrontation or we're going to have something stolen. Maybe people aren't observant, and in South Africa, if you're not observant at all, you're going to be victimized. But we go to restaurants to relax. We meet people there that we want to be with. We go for a nice meal. Are you guys constantly on the lookout? I mean, is this what goes on behind the scenes that we don't even know about?
So look, just before he entered the restaurant, he hit onto a window or something. So obviously that made a noise. So in that video, you will
Uh,
see everyone turns around to look, but
uh,
then he carries on walking into the restaurant. So that's when obviously people's guard went back down, because he
yeah.
wasn't hitting the window and then running towards us, but he was running into the restaurant. And one thing, my dad is always very aware of his surroundings. And the other thing
How
is
long?
that,
How long have you guys been at that particular place?
so for a very, very short while, it was probably weeks that we were there since that incident happened at that restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell me, because again, like it's frightening to any parent to imagine they'll be in a situation where someone's trying to snatch their kid. This guy was as high as a kite, right? I mean, there was video afterwards of him muttering while someone was filming on a cell phone. What was your interaction after the fact?
So during obviously our ordeal, it happened so quickly. There was no time to assess his state of mind. So, like I said, the only thing I had to do was restrain him.
Right.
Only once the security and the cops and the CPF got involved, it's when we obviously heard all that mumbling and stuff. But once they came, I stepped completely away because I felt it was not my job, or it was not my part to get involved, further than that. I did what I could, which was
no, you've done enough, man.
Yeah.
But you haven't paid any attention to what might have happened to him afterwards? Have people informed you?
No. So someone told me that he had a court case or something yesterday morning,
Uh-huh.
but as far as that, I don't know anything else further. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was talking about like the Nigerians and how, you could tell that the guy was wired as hell. And then he was saying, no, he just needs money to get his next hit or whatever it was. Is it easier, Gord? You'll know as well. Dishal, obviously you got your own school for jiu-jitsu, but is it easier to subdue someone who is under the influence of drugs and alcohol, or is it harder?
Well, it's an interesting point I was going to bring up is that Anthony Smith, who's a UFC fighter last year, had a home invader come into his house, and he's a championship contender. But I mean, anyone who's even almost got into the UFC is going to be a hard person for an ordinary person to deal with, or impossible for an ordinary person to deal with. So a home invader came into his house, and he was, I think, I stand to be corrected, but high on PCP. And it was Anthony Smith, being a world-class fighter, was just barely able to restrain the guy and keep him away so that the police could get there and stuff. So I've never personally dealt with a person off their tits on some sort of drugs, but I'm interested to know from you if this guy being really high made him stronger or anything like that.
Now, how hard was it to subdue him?
Okay, so look, he put on a real fight. So it wasn't that easy. You could feel he was strong. It wasn't just grab him around, take him down. You can see there was quite a match going on, obviously, between us. So I obviously had to have technique over strength. That's at the end of the day what mattered. I had to have my technique on point. So to take him down forward, get my legs wrapped around him, which we call them hooks. So I had to have all of that in, or else he would have gotten away. I could feel he was pretty strong, and he wasn't a very small guy. He wasn't a small guy. He was, and yeah.
So, in your opinion, if he hadn't have been high, if he'd just been ordinary sober, would he have been easier to? He would have been easier to restrain.
Oh well, I can't even tell you that it could have been that.
Because you fight not high people all the time. But also, were you tempted? Were you not at all tempted, or did you have to restrain yourself from putting on something that breaks something, like going to like an armbar or a heel hook, just ruining a joint to teach the guy? Because that jiu-jitsu is a peaceful thing, but you can do that.
Yes, most definitely. I mean, that's all we're being taught is that break wrists, dislocate shoulders and elbows
when necessary.
When necessary, yeah. Exactly.
No, it takes an enormous amount of self-control on your part, to not actually hurt this motherfucker.
No, because in that moment you can just choose a limb and cancel it forever if you feel like it. You're a BJJ black belt on a crackhead. Like, you can literally just break what you want, and you just didn't. So that's because, I mean, you must, even though you trained, this is a real life situation and there's a kid's life at stake. I would find it very hard not to just crack whatever I'm holding.
Yeah, so look, I have a black belt in traditional jiu-jitsu, so I do BJJ as well. So to find that self-control is what defines you in a situation. I think it could be, like I said, could have easily went to a thing where, right now the assault is against me, I've broken something, and then I'm in court for doing something like that.
Yeah, well, listen again. The state of mind that you had to be in to keep yourself calm and to see what was going on around you, to observe, to jump to that child's defense. Have you spoken a lot to the kids? I mean, to the mother of the kid?
Funny enough, I spoke to them on Monday. They came through to the restaurant, and I got to speak to them. The child is doing okay. She doesn't have any physical. She's not hurt physically or anything. So she seems okay. But yeah, you can never know with a traumatic event such as this, what are the
Right.
repercussions?
Because this guy's arrest, what we know now is he's been charged with assault since it was reported that the girl was injured during the ordeal. So we don't know how much she was injured, but you say she's fine.
Yeah, so like I say, physically she's fine, but
Yeah,
you
but
never
geez,
know.
mentally also, I mean, what a frightening thing to happen to a kid, and how frightening. I mean, so many people were passing the video around just saying, listen, just be aware that you don't live in a world where there are only good people. And, someone might want to, it's a very rare thing that this happens, which is probably why it's so shocking for so many people. But there are people who would try to do this.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like I said, initially you're thinking petty theft, like a cell phone or something, but never in a restaurant jumping over for a child. And I
Yeah.
think
Well,
that's what the most shocking thing, for everyone is that we live in a world where things like this can happen. So I always say live in awareness and not in paranoia.
Yeah, and it's a real credit. It's a real credit to the sport and the art of jiu-jitsu, because I mean, it goes to show that educated violence de-escalates a situation and keeps everyone safe, as opposed to creates a new threat and makes everyone in danger.
Dishal, have any authorities got in contact and said to you, "Listen, thank you, well done," local police or whoever? Because to my mind, you deserve like some national order for this, dude. A lot of people would say it, including you, and I know I've heard you say this already in public, that you would do what anyone else would have done. So you're being humble. But my God, I mean, it is a moment of heroism.
Totally.
No, I agree with you. And, like I say, we do what we can do in a situation. But the only people that have contacted me was the CPF, which was the community police. They were the only ones who kept coming in and out to make sure I was okay. But in terms of police, I haven't heard from anyone further than that. Yeah.
I mean, not to be shady, but Begicel is at anything where there's press. To just be there for you, to be able to acknowledge you. I don't know. But I don't mean to gild the lily, but last point from my side is, whenever I think our natural instinct for most of us is to see danger and run the opposite way. One of the things that I thought of when I watched the video was, you ran so like straightforward towards this guy. He could have been carrying a knife, he could have had a gun, and you didn't even think about that, and you went towards it. So, geez, kudos, man.
No, thank you. Look, I mean, it was a huge risk on my side for what I did going towards her. Like I say, when he jumped over, he used both his hands. You could see he wasn't pointing a gun or running with a knife. So probably the risk factor was slightly less, but you never know. He could be carrying it in his pocket, in his socks or something. And I was willing to take that risk to save that.
So, dude, let's give your restaurant a plug, because maybe people want to go there, and that's a way of kind of celebrating the fact that there are still real heroes among us. I think so, anyway. So it's called what? Bella Napoli Italian Restaurant. That's in Florida, West Rand.
Yeah, that's right. It's at Goldman Crossing Shopping Center. And I'd like you guys to come through as well. Come have a beer, come have a chill. Definitely, I'd like to meet.
Well, I'll come because I know I'm safe there. I mean,
I was going to say, it sounds like the safest place in Joburg.
I'll pull out my diamonds. I'll come drenched in jewels.
No, it's
and
amazing.
My grills, knowing.
Yeah, Dishal, well done, dude. I don't want to make too much of this, but I think it's worth making too much of it, frankly. There are so few good stories, and you hear about nasty things that happen to people all the time. And occasionally when the good guys win, it's nice to celebrate that. So well done to you, and good luck to you and your dad with the restaurant.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah, respect, man.
No, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me
stuff.
on, and speak to you guys soon.
All right, my man. Good work.
Man.
Wow. I love that. Right. Don't you love that? That's just so great.
What a legend. Yes. Yeah. And like, not interested in credit, just there to kick people's asses as and when necessary in a gentle way.
There's so just what we do know now officially about the suspect is he's 24 years old. He's been arrested since the incident. As I said earlier, he was charged with assault, and the police have said they are still investigating, and it's unclear when or if further charges will be added.